Hi, this is Evan Nielsen from Nielsen Law Group, and our subject for this segment is tax amendments and what you can expect from them. You might have heard about the possibility of amending your tax return and even considered doing so, but were unsure as to whether or not it would make a difference. There are a number of reasons to amend a tax return. The two most common are that you believe that there's an error on the return, either positive or negative, or that you believe there is some information that you need to correct from a reporting standpoint that may not have anything to do with the tax liability or the tax refund, but you just want to make sure that it's accurate. So if any of those cases apply, then you may be wondering whether or not you'll be able to get the benefit of amending the return. Something else that you should always remember is that when there is tax owed, if you feel like you have not taken benefit of all of the deductions that you could have, that amending may be a way of addressing that. So let's talk about the rules associated with amendments. You can amend any tax year that you would like to, as far back as you would like to. Now, you may have heard that you can only go back 3 years, and that is true only when you're asking for a refund. But if you have a tax liability where you owed tax in a particular tax year and you know you didn't take all the deductions you should have, then you can amend that return no matter how far back you need to go. So amending that return may be a great way of addressing the amount that's owed, so you don't even have to pay it. But keep in mind that when you amend a tax return, that increases the amount of time that the IRS has to look at the return and make modifications to it or perform an examination. So it's not a complete benefit to you. You restart the clock, if you will, when you do an amendment, but it can be a powerful tool for addressing back taxes that are owed. Another reason to amend a return would be to get a refund. So in that case, you can only amend 3 years back or 2 years from the date of the payment. So if you're making payments on a tax bill that's 10 years old and you have been in the last 2 years, you can still amend that return and could request a refund for whatever amounts have been paid in the last 2 years from when you file the amendment. So both of those possibilities exist. Now, another question that often comes up when you amend a tax return, does that increase your chance of an audit? And in writing as well as in speaking with examiners, the IRS makes it very clear that they want us to believe that an audit chance doesn't go up when there's an amendment filed. But our experience is that you should still be very careful in this area. And so I'm not saying that I don't believe the IRS when they say that it doesn't impact your chances of an audit, but I am saying that it appears to. And so our recommendation when you conduct a review of your return for purposes of an amended return is that you want to be very careful about the information that you use and that you want to be very conservative about the claims that you make. And then our last recommendation along these lines would be that you should give serious thought to using a professional to prepare the return and to work with the IRS on any specific issues, and then provide detailed explanation for any areas that might raise questions with the IRS to avoid the possibility of having to do so later. Now, something else that you should be aware of, if you have business activities that you have been involved with in the past but have not incorporated your business, to claim those business activities and expenses in particular on a business return, you can go back and do so. You can establish the formalities of the business, usually incorporation or organization, retroactively. You can also get a tax ID number retroactively that reflects the things that you've actually done. You obviously can't manufacture something that didn't happen, but if you had the business activity and the expenses and the income in prior years, you just didn't formalize things, you can go back and fix that. And that may be another way to help amend a return. But as I mentioned again, in that entire process, you want to be very conservative about how you approach it. If you have questions specifically about how to do that, you'll find some valuable information on our segment that deals with how to minimize your chance of an audit. So you should probably view that as well. We hope this has been helpful. We really enjoy working with these kinds of issues, and so if you have questions, feel free to contact us and we will be glad to help. Look forward to hearing from you if it'll be helpful, and in the meantime, we wish you the best.